What is up with the Obamas? This entire past election cycle has almost been a massive fall from grace for the couple, even for independents and centrists like myself that used to at least kind of respect them. And seeing what Michelle Obama has been up to after the election is such a stark contrast of hypocrisy for the scaremongering that she did about a Trump presidency just a few months ago. Watch Jesse Watters dismantle that entire ploy and you'll see what I mean.
I remember Michelle Obama saying if Trump won, women would suffer.
If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage.
Trump's pretty much already president, so let's check in on Michelle.
Attention, everybody. We are full of joy and here today. So honored to have you, Michelle Obama, at a happy place. Michelle Obama's walking, we can't let her go. She's a classy lady, we just love her so. We got Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama looks proud of her country again, which is weird because Biden's about to turn the White House over to Hitler. Everybody should be scared, right? At the Obama house, it's Christmas as usual. The only thing keeping Michelle up at night is what to stuff in Barack's stocking.
And here's the crazy part. I feel like this is a commentary on how no one really expects these political figures, which some would say were even the puppet masters for the past 4 years, to have their words and actions line up anymore. By the way, we're exposing the bitter truth like no one else is, so please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to become part of the conversation. I mean, now nearly 2 decades after the Obamas rose to fame and created a wave of enthusiasm, the jury's finally in because they're the same hypocritical and opportunistic politicians now that they claimed to be against back in the day. And it's not just the fact that the Obamas fly around the world lecturing humanity on climate change and rising sea levels while buying beachfront properties, or saying they're suspicious of people that have more than they need while being worth $70 million themselves. It's that kind of empty sloganeering that does more damage to the Democratic Party than anything else, especially at a time when it's yearning for a populist movement that topples these failed establishment figures. That's the moment that you realize that there really is no such political messiah from the top down because they were always in it for themselves. That's what a former Democrat like Joe Rogan also ended up realizing this past election cycle.
Yeah, I don't think we can recall a time in our history where we did trust the government. But this is, which is such a weird thing to say. You know, I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. I felt like he's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You know, you think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a fucking quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump, the thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist, which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017.
Yeah.
You know, I think it worked back then. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. I think that we've gotten numb to all this stuff.
Well, it's a sky is falling thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah. That mother's never been happier in his life. In his life. He's like that. She went down. You can't tell me he wasn't happy. Like when he put that MAGA hat on. You ever see that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He put the MAGA hat on. And he took it with him on the plane. I guarantee you, that motherfucker was happy. He had a giant smile on his face. He said, welcome back to him. I thought it was I thought he was dangerous.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why Abraham Lincoln said you can't fool all of the people all of the time, and that's kind of the political strategy that the Democrats had against Donald Trump for the last decade. You watch the Obamas on the campaign trail as far back as 2016 and then just a few months ago, and they sound like a broken record that no one's even listening to anymore. Barack Obama said back in 2016, I am not on the ballot, but I tell you what, fairness is on the ballot, decency is on the ballot, justice is on the ballot, progress is on the ballot, our democracy is on the ballot. And then 8 years later, you see him laughing like best buddies with Donald Trump at Jimmy Carter's funeral, Michelle Obama remarked in the final stretch of the Kamala Harris campaign, quote, "Your daughter could be the one too terrified to call the doctors if she's bleeding during an unexpected pregnancy. Your niece could be the one miscarrying in her bathtub after the hospital turned her away." Painting this weird dramatic picture over an issue like abortion that Donald Trump has already moved more onto the center to, at least on a federal policy, and in these situations, the women would get help. And the same thing with the rest of the Democrat crowd, including Kamala Harris, who just can't stop cackling, and Joe Biden, who's just chilling on a beach somewhere at this point.
It's almost like she's saying life goes on. The whole democracy is on the line was just a line. Kamala Harris, same thing. She lost to a tyrant, and she's still laughing.
Good morning. Oh. Remember the context in which you exist. Yeah, I did that. In the face of an obstacle, do we throw up our hands or do we roll up our sleeves? And as we approach...
She doesn't seem very worried that Trump's not in prison and he's about to take over the military.
That laugh just, grates on me like nothing else. And it blows my mind that according to most recent polls, Kamala Harris is still the Democrat frontrunner for 2028 by a large margin at 37%.
No! God, please, no!
I hope that's wrong. It is pretty clear that the Democrats, even after a massive electoral loss like this, just have not gotten the memo that this is not the kind of policy rhetoric and leadership that resonates with the American people. That's a shame because the American political landscape actually needs a genuinely pro-working class progressive opposition party, because politics and democracy are a balancing act of power before they realize that more center-left figures will keep exiting the party till there's nothing left for the Democrats than to scaremonger inside their echo chambers.
Bill Maher is also not losing any sleep over Trump.
Of course, the worst things could happen. Trump could get into office and blow up the world on day one. But, I'm not going through the same spilkus I did last time.
Really?
Yeah. Like when it happens, wake me, but I'm not giving my mind over to it again. And I'll see what happens. And one thing I've learned about the future is that we're very bad about predicting it. And whatever you think is probably likely to happen probably isn't going to happen.
Wait a second. The media said Trump was going to order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate journalists. And now the media is like, I'm going to sleep. Wake me up when they're outside the door.
But it's not that easy to press the reset button on your entire decade-long legacy, whether you're in the media or in politics, which means both the Democrats and their media pundits will need to do a radical rethink in both policy and messaging before the next election. But let me know if you see any signs of that happening, because right now, 2 months in, we're just seeing more of the same from a party that just keeps shooting itself in the foot every single time.